There's been an earthquake. I'm going. Oh no. Okay. Yes, I'm going to. That was a conversation that me and Rafay had in late 2005. I was in Los Angeles recording my first album. And I was out there for a couple of weeks feeling very accomplished. I was recording every day and composing and writing and collaborating. And this was my first full studio album, and I was so pumped about it. I was all in. I was so pumped about it. I was all in, music nerd bliss. But one day in the studio, I got this call from Rafay, and he sounded worried, and he's talking fast, and it's all really out of character. I mean, this is absolutely not like him. He is stoic, and he's calm, and I have seen him under the most stressful situations, so I'm immediately panicked. There's been an earthquake, I'm going, he said. It's been a big one. It's in northern Pakistan. It's near Kashmir. Muzaffarabad is almost completely gone. It's 80,000 people killed. They said it's really bad. It's 4 million people are homeless, and so many people with broken bones that can't reach hospitals because the landslides wiped out the roads, and the relief workers are going to have trouble accessing. And he interrupts himself and says, I'm going. He said we organized people from New England Baptist. He was working and teaching Harvard medical students as a clinical instructor at the time, and the hospital was donating all of these splints for legs and arms and orthopedics that they had, and they were sending tents, and there was 5 of them that were going to help. And I'm standing in the studio taking all of this in, and I'm just immediately so painful. I was worried about his family, and he said they were all safe, and I say, yes, I'm going. And 2 full days later, we're on a plane to Pakistan.
It's just an impossible task. The whole area, the whole of this town has been crushed and destroyed.
I flew directly from LA, and Rafay flew from Boston, where we live. He flew with a medical crew and a bunch of medical doctors that were originally from Pakistan, and some of them from northern Pakistan. And Rafay and I had this conversation about how to be helpful. How could I be helpful? I am literally medically useless. I actually faint. I'm completely soft-hearted. I'm a musician. We're supposed to be empathetic. So I found this festival in Lahore. It was the World Music Festival, which was fully benefiting earthquake relief.
This song is called My Time.
And it was a big festival. It was at Rafay Theatre and Gaddafi Stadium, and musicians from all over the world were coming to perform and to benefit earthquake relief efforts. And I was at the time naively thinking they were sending all of the money straight to northern Pakistan. And, maybe they did. I don't know. But at the time, I was completely naive about all of that stuff. Not anymore. Anyway, my manager sent them an email, and I was in the program. We already had our visas from the summer before, and we were there. And 3 days later, I'm standing on the stage of Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore, Pakistan, celebrating world music.
Give something back to northern Pakistan, and this song that I'm about to do is dedicated to them.
And meantime, Rafay was making his way to northern Pakistan with the medical crew from Boston. And the Pakistan military was transporting medical teams by helicopter to the places that were impassable by roads, and there were people from all over the world and people from all over the country that were coming to help. And Rafay and the Boston medical team are helping in these tent cities to help set broken bones and to set up tents for the millions of people that lost their homes. And it feels weird to say, but it was so good to be back in Pakistan at that time. I was so glad to see Amma and Abu and Rafay's brother and Bhabi and all of the bachis, and that family time feels so much more important at those times particularly. But it was this weird combination, which my life kind of is like that. It's these photo shoots and these very glamorous things with family time, with being with family and relatives, and, very low key. I remember doing rehearsals and live shows and interviews and talking about why I was there. And I also loved meeting all of these Pakistani bands. And I remember meeting Ali Zafar and all of these other bands backstage. And there was this young band from Lahore who wanted to collaborate and record at Badshahi Mosque. And Rafay was back to see his family on a break from northern Pakistan. So we all went along. And we thought about security, obviously, but there were no major issues yet. Everything seemed to be going so well. Well, not so much. We were sitting at night at this beautiful mosque doing the thing that I love to do the most. And all of a sudden, the security guard is fully yelling into his radio, "Jaldi, jaldi karo, jaldi, jaldi." And we scattered off, not knowing what was happening or why we were running. And 30 seconds later, I was under a blanket in the back of a 2-door car and tires were screeching, we were 1,000 miles a minute out of Badshahi Mosque. And later on, I heard from the band that was with us that we actually passed a truck with 4 or 5 young guys in the back with these submachine guns pointing up, and they didn't notice us. And when we got home later, I heard that the security guard at the front gate radioed over to us because this group of guys had bust to the entrance at full speed, and he could see that they were coming for us. He called over his friend, the other security guard who was with us, and I honestly believe that they saved our lives. They both did. They saved our lives. It was amazing. I never got to thank them even. I never knew their names, but I pray for both of them all the time. The rest of the trip was such an odd combination of live performances and interviews and meeting the thriving entertainment industry in Lahore. There were so many creative people, makeup artists and designers and new media people. It was really encouraging, while there was always this looming political stuff at the same time. And speaking of that, I guess Musharraf, who was in power at the time, got wind of this World Music Festival being a big hit, and he invited me over to perform at the governor's house. So the next thing I knew, me and Rafay were on our way over to perform for the Prime Minister of Pakistan. And honestly, my first album wasn't even finished. I left it in LA. I really only had that one song. That was the one I did. There was no encore, no second song. I literally didn't have another one recorded. And also, I'm pretty sure at that time that we hadn't fully told Rafay's parents that I was a singer. They knew I was an opera singer when we got married, but to say, oh, come over tonight to see me singing a pop song is a whole different thing. This is a family of CEOs and chief scientific officers, and pop singer didn't have the same ring to it, But all of these billboards keep going up, and my picture was on it, and these magazines. So they were seeing this as a cultural thing, and they were supporting it. Everyone actually thought it was really funny. And Rafay, the adventurer of the family, was heading off for medical relief, and I was singing for charity. It made sense. But honestly, something truly life-changing happened on that trip. It was one of those moments when you realize your life's purpose. It was on the first night in Lahore. It was after my first show, and I was backstage at Rafay Pier Theatre, and after my one song, and people were coming back and saying hello and introducing themselves and taking selfies, and that was the night I met a lot of famous bands. But there was this one guy. He looked young, like 17 or 18, and I remember he had this odd affect. He had kind of bulging eyes, and he was so anxious. And he came up to me, and I went to shake his hand, and he said, no, I don't shake girls' hands. And he was very conservative, I could see, which was fine. Didn't think anything of it. And he said, I was going to take you out. And right before that, we had been talking about Lahori fish, and we were having a conversation about Food Street, and I said, oh yes, I love Food Street. And then strangely, I started rattling off my favorite foods, I guess because I felt kind of uncomfortable. I was like, I love chaat, but spicy, and I want to have a few bites of biryani. And he cut me off and he said, no, I was going to take you out. And he opened his long jacket, and there was a submachine gun hidden inside his jacket, strapped to the inside of his jacket. And no one saw it, except Rafay saw it. He saw it, and he heard him too. And it was this moment where time just ends. He said, no, I was going to take you out. But what you said, it affected me. It changed me. You're not like them, not like those Americans. You care about us, you care. It was actual slow motion, and all I could hear was my heart beating, and I'm pretty sure I didn't say anything at all. I just stared at him. And I think it took Rafay a minute to process too. But this kid, he was just smiling and repeating, "You changed me, you care, you care." And then we posed for a photo. And I was smiling in that photo. It was so odd. And I still have it. I still have that picture. I look at it all the time. Because I was happy. I was happy that he saw that I cared. Because I do care a lot. After that, when I finished my album, we went to China. And China is where I learned how to really be a musician and how to be a cultural diplomat. And I even had more than one song.